The trial of Chad Daybell, it is beginning. Jury selection going on as of our recording. The opening statements to begin as soon as that wraps up. It's going to be a very compelling case to watch. Might be similar to Lori's, might not be. It's who knows. Robin Dreeke, retired FBI special agent, joining me to discuss this case. Let's start talking about the investigation of this and how they got to where they are with Chad on trial, with Lori approaching her second trial. You're talking about two people with very extreme religious beliefs, very bizarre beliefs that are not necessarily common, probably to most investigations that go on. How does that play a role in digging into these people and trying to figure out what the heck is going on? Obviously, it took some time before charges were brought, but do those sort of things play a role in the investigation of horrible behavior, as we saw with the Daybells?
Yeah, they do. But they're still just fitting a particular modus operandi in this case and in all cases that involve murder, at least most of them. That is, you have someone with a motivation of love, jealousy, financial, and there you go. And
Hmm.
so all those things are playing here. They used religion and their cult religion that they created as an offshoot of Church of Latter-day Saints
Hmm.
to justify their actions, to do just that, to betray, to have a love affair, to make money and profit.
Yeah, and they did all of that. They checked all of the boxes,
Yep.
all of the boxes for that. Uh, when this is going to trial here, we're going to now see a lot of interesting people testifying. We're going to allegedly hear some expert witnesses be called to the stand on the defense of Chad Daybell. I'm curious as to know who's going to be doing that. Who possibly could they be calling as an expert witness? If you were to speculate on that, who do you think we're going to see up there, standing up for Chad or being paid as an expert witness to give information that would actually work in his defense?
I'll tell you, Tony, that's the $1 million question, isn't it? The only thing I could really think of would be expert witness in the sense of a psychologist.
Hmm.
Because the only thing I think they can do, I mean, it's the evidence is so overwhelming, his involvement, because his wife's already convicted.
Hmm.
um, the text messages, everything's so compelling. The only thing I can do is, again, they're going for the saving of a life here.
Hmm.
And I think the only thing you can do is that I think they're going to try to go on the brainwashing, thing, and that she was the cult leader. So maybe you'll get a cult expert on there, and now she was the cult leader, and that how she was manipulating everyone, including Chad, to go along with her crazy. That's so I'm thinking maybe cult expert, psychologist, psychology. It's
Yeah.
kind of it's a, that's really the only thing because what else can you argue? I honestly have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they already almost admitted guilt in an affidavit that was filed earlier or late last year, stating that under Lori's spell, basically, me and Alex Cox were just kind of doing what she wanted. They walked up to the line of saying we killed the kids without saying we killed the kids. Um,
Right.
how much of a positive do you think it is that Alex Cox is dead? And the fact that you can't ask him any questions. He can't
Right.
testify. He can't say Lori did this or Lori did that. So the narrative that they want to create with Alex Cox can be pretty much anything at this point.
Yeah, and I think they're gonna play on that. I think they're gonna definitely try to potentially play on the fact that maybe his location. Maybe they'll do cell phone analysis experts, trying to distance himself as much as basically anyone they can get to try to distance Chad from her being manipulated by her and distance himself from the actual murders, the murders days. I literally that's all I can think of they can do. The alibis are out the window because it's. I think they're out the window just
Yeah.
because the text messages are so clear
Yeah.
on everything that transpired. So I'm still just thinking as much as they can, they're going to try to distance himself from the actual murders themselves and try to put him as a victim of a cult leader.
How do you think that will play to the jury and the cult leader as well? Because one could argue it was Chad. Now, some could argue it was Lori. It seems like it might have been a combination of both. I'm guessing juries don't have a lot of pity when it comes to, anything cult, especially if you were the one that was executing some of the orders, or creating them yourself by convincing your wife that her kids are zombies.
So it'll be really interesting, I think, what defense does on this one. Yeah, and you're right. The compassion the jury is going to have for that is going to be slim to none, unless you can really. And this is what might come in on the expert testimony side. If you can prove, or at least put a sow of doubt in a jury's mind of Chad's mental capabilities,
Hmm.
not even competence, but his level of emotional intelligence. In other words, if they can present him as a very gullible, underdeveloped, emotionally and social individual, and how he was so vulnerable to people like Lori in his life,
Hmm.
how he was bullied. I mean, so if they can portray him as a true victim and show that as his life arc, yet not complaining about it, because as soon as he starts complaining about it, then it'll just completely, get blown away. If he owns the behavior, if they paint him as a victim of her because of an underdeveloped social capability in some way, and this is where the psychologist could
Hmm.
come in, he might stand a chance. I don't know, but that's, again, that's such a stretch to be able to do that. But when you have nothing else,
Yeah.
that might be it.
Is this a case where, I mean, obviously you normally don't want your defendant to testify unless there is, no other option. We saw Alec Murdaugh go up there at the end. That might have been more ego than it was there was no other option.
Mhm.
I'm wondering if this is one of those though where, look, you have very few options here. Everything looks horrible against you. The best bet is you go up there and you try and tell your story of how you were coerced by Lori or whatnot, and hope to God they have some sort of pity on you.
It's going to come down to is him.
Yeah.
It's not even come down to his message. So the messaging is going to come down to defense saying, "Here's the picture we're trying to paint." Again, we're using our conjecture
Hmm.
if they go down this sort of route. But if his natural nonverbal behavior, his tenor, his vocalization, his intonation, all those things are congruent with someone who presents themselves as a submissive individual, and they paint the life arc of someone who's been easily manipulated because of this under socially developed mindset he's had his entire life, whatever they're going to do, and he's non-verbally then congruent with that behavior. In other words, everything that he says and the way he presents himself says, "Oh yeah." And then if you have people throughout Chad's life that then get up and stand by and say, "Oh yeah, man, he's been like this person, he's been like this person." In other words, if you can paint that arc of, here's how easily susceptible Chad's been his entire life, and shame on him for allowing Lori into his life.
Hmm.
And yes, he's done all these horrible things, and his children are dead because of this.
Hmm.
I think that's the only way he could help himself, if he gets up on that stand and testifies. But again, he's got. In other words, he's got to be the fool, moron, idiot that they present him as.
I'm gonna guess the only goal at this point is to convince a jury not to sentence him to death.
I think that's it too. Kind of like in on the Koberger case.
Hmm.
I think that they're going for life. In other words, save his life. What else can you do? I mean, it's too overwhelming.
Hey, it's Tony Brueski. If you like the podcast, be sure to like, subscribe, and press that bell so you don't miss any of our updates on the cases we're following for you right here at the Hidden Killers podcast from True Crime Today. And thanks